talking about how to get your dream job. I haven't been on LinkedIn Live for a little while, so it's good to see you again, or at least be aware of you, communicate with you. I didn't know I was going to get COVID, been avoiding it studiously, strenuously, assiduously for 2.5 years. No idea how I got it since I'm as careful as I'm capable of being, but nonetheless caught up with me. So I'm a little bit under the weather today, but we'll hang in there. And I encourage you to leave a comment if you feel like it, um, in the comment section here, and I'll respond as well as I can to comments. If I disappear, that's that. And what are you going to do? It's a pandemic. So the topic is how to get your dream job, and the question comes up because people tend to think about job searching as I'm going to put you on hold for one second here. Sorry about that. We had a little feedback here in the studio. Oh, what a day. So, dream job, what does it mean? How would you know what your dream job would be? And then how do you go after it? This is the thing. You get like crazy spammers. Got to get rid of them. La la la. You. No. Doesn't matter. Okay. Dream job. Dream job is going to differ by person. What's a dream job for you is not going to be a dream job for somebody else. It's very, very personal, and it's also situational. Oh, Matthew, thank you so much for your comment. Matthew says, I just finished the first part of Reinvention Roadmap. Truly transformative. That's so kind of you to say, Matthew. Thank you. I'm so glad that the book Reinvention Roadmap has been helpful. What is your dream job is not only going to vary by person, but it varies by time and what your needs are in a job. Sometimes you want a job that is going to give you incredible learning opportunities, and you're in a mode to just take in tons of new information and develop new skills. Sometimes you need a job that supports a very active life outside of work, and you want a job that requires perhaps less of you time wise, and maybe energy wise, and maybe mental exertion wise. Sometimes you want a job that's going to give you a mentoring opportunities. Other times you want to be mentored. So what is a dream job for you is very, very specific to you and your needs at any point in your career. My big message for folks, as Matthew mentioned in the book Reinvention Roadmap, and just in general in everything that I teach, is that we now are CEOs. We are all CEOs. That's Chief Executive Officer of our own lives and careers. It used to be that you could get a job. I'm old enough to remember this. You would get a job, and there would sort of be this ladder, the corporate ladder, right? And you would have an entry level job, and you would perform that job well, and then you get promoted to a higher level job and continue up throughout your career. Well, that ladder's gone. It's sawdust now, right, on the floor. And so we have to make our own ladder or our own path based on two really important things. One is what we need at any given moment in time, and the other is what employers need, what kinds of problems they need to surmount. And so fitting those two elements together is the key to getting the job that works for you. Job seekers have a lot of unfortunate ideas. They didn't just pop into their heads. These ideas were taught to us, right, as children in many cases, and we still believe them. We don't necessarily question them, or even we're not even necessarily aware of these ideas that we acquired oftentimes as really young people. And one of those is that your employer will look out for your career so you don't have to. That's not true. That was probably true in the 70s and 80s. I watched my father used to be only men had good jobs, okay? Let's be real. Right up through the 70s and the 80s and into the 90s. It's not perfect now, God knows, but used to be only men. And I watched my dad take, well, I wasn't born when he took his first entry level job, but I was born when he had some mid level job and just went up, up, up in his corporation. And it all seemed very normal to me and to us and our family and to him until pretty much everybody we knew that that was the aspiration, that you climb the ladder in one company. It's basically unheard of now. That's not how it works. And many, if not most people, find that to continue growing and learning and achieving what they want in their career, not to mention having salary growth, they have to change jobs. So changing jobs becomes a critical career skill in itself, not something that we can avoid and say, I don't want to think about that. It's understandable. We don't want to think about changing jobs because it can be a pain in the neck, right? To job hunt, but it's essential. It's an essential career skill, and therefore it's an essential life skill. Let me stop and look at some of the comments. I hope I mentioned I'm a little out of it today. I've COVID. It's a drag because I've been like in a cave. I've been a hermit and I still got COVID. Why employers don't see the value of people as humans. We are all humans with life, families, and goals. We spend most of our day at work, so work is part of our lives. Why to make it miserable? Yes, Angela, I couldn't agree with you more. And what we are taking away from that is, given that there are so many unfortunate work situations, there are jobs that you could get, but that job might not deserve you. That job might not deserve your talents and your enthusiasm and your brilliance. And in that case, it's on us now to say, okay, I have a job, I can pay the bills, but this is not the right job for me. How do I decide what is the next thing for me to do? And then how do I go after that job and get that job? We are driving the car, not our employers. And if one employer is not the right place for us, it's on us to get out and to get something better. And the interview that goes with it. You're right, Angela. I'm sorry you're sick. I am too. Denise, I'm so sorry. Here we are, right? Drinking the hot tea. I'm sorry about that, Denise. I hope you feel better soon, because that's not the best. What is the added value of people hopping jobs every 1 to 2 years? No commitment. Marco, I'm going to push back on that. Commitment, look it. Okay. I don't know about you, but I live in the United States of America, and this is the only country in the industrialized world, the only one where employees don't have contracts. They have contracts in the UK, they have contracts in France, they have contracts in Canada, they have contracts in South Korea, they have contracts in Germany and Italy and Luxembourg, right? And Belgium and the Netherlands and Scandinavia. They have contracts, normal contracts that are standard, that say you will work here and you'll get paid X. And here's when we'll evaluate your salary. And here's what your duties will be, right? And here's what your hours will be. And we don't have that in the United States. So we really can't accuse employees who change jobs every 1 or 2 years to get the advancement they're not getting at work and to get paid competitively what they're worth, because we don't have the commitment that employees in the United States would kill for and deserve, that their counterparts in every other single industrialized country take for granted. I mean, every single day I hear from people in Germany, right? And everywhere, name a country, right? Estonia, that say, I can't believe you don't have contracts. I know, I hear that every day. I can't believe US workers don't have contracts. You could be terminated at any time. They could change your salary, they could change your hours, they could change your duties. I know. I know. Yeah, you're right. I know. Shocking. And yet that's how it is. So we can't accuse working people of a lack of commitment because they change jobs to improve their situation. Isn't that human nature? Isn't that a good thing to improve your situation? Why would any employer expect an employee to be committed when they don't have a contract that shows the employer's commitment to them? It makes no sense. I would like you to be committed to our company. That's cool. I would like to be committed to your company, and all I need is the same thing in return. Okay, I am currently a contractor. I hate my position. Okay, I need to find my forever position. Okay, contractors, I don't want to get boxed up in terminology, but contractors in the United States also don't have job security because the contracts that you work on as a 3 month or 6 month or 12-month contractor are not real contracts. There's no commitment from the employer. They could say it's a 12-month contract, but they could end it after 4 months and there's no penalty. Good point to raise, Marco. Just wondering how this can be a bias that we hold, however, that limits a person's growth. Yeah, commitment to yourself is first, right? Commitment to yourself. If you follow a deity, a higher power, commitment to yourself and your belief system and all that you hold dear and worship, your family and your friends, that comes first. That comes first. First. Commitment to your employer, second or third. Let's level, right? What is really important? What's really important? So when we talk about your dream job, which is the topic of this talk, although I get distracted very easily, especially in my COVID-addled state, your dream job is based on your needs. It's based on your needs. A lot of people have the idea that a job search is a matter of looking at job ads and saying, what could I possibly do? What would an employer find me qualified for? I hope they would consider me. I hope they would find me good enough. I'm talking about reversing that energy flow and saying, I know I'm good enough. The question is, what do I want to do? What do I intend to do? What is my path that I choose for myself? And then let me find employers who fit that, right? Think about dating. Think about dating. In my case, it's been decades. I'm married a long time, but I used to go on dates all the time. Did I go on dates to say, I hope this guy likes me? I hope he likes me. I don't even know him. Why would I hope that he likes me? I don't even know him. I don't know if I'm going to like him. I don't know if we're going to have anything in common. I don't know if we're going to resonate at all. I don't go on a date, or I didn't go on a date in the 80s to see if a guy would like me or to hope that he would like me. I would go to meet someone and see what happens. And it's the same thing on a job interview. You go to learn more. I'm here to learn more, not to hope you like me, or God forbid, to change myself to increase the chances that you like me, right? That is, you should be dating your spouse. Yes, Doug, we have date nights, but I still got COVID, being so careful, eating outdoors. I don't know. I'm going to give up on the X. I can't figure it out. I told the lady on the phone when I talked to someone from the health insurance because of COVID, whatnot. She said that's most people I talked to. They were so careful and they can't believe they got COVID, but yeah, they did. All right. It's really a paradigm shift, says Greta, that the job seeker has to have to be in charge of their search experience. It's absolutely true, Greta. It is a paradigm shift. It is a paradigm shift. I grew up with the idea, please, dear sir or madam. That's my cohort. Is dear back in the day, dear sir or madam, I'm writing to inquire. Please accept me. Now it's accept me or not. There's a lot of people hiring. There's a lot of people hiring. They're all hiring. Have you been reading the news? Companies that would normally terminate someone for performance problems or attendance problems, they're not terminating them because they can't afford to, because they don't have enough people on board. Companies that used to require a 4-year degree, got to have it. If you're even short a few credits, they wouldn't consider you. In 2017, 2018, now they're not saying you only need a 2-year degree or a partial degree. They're saying you don't have to ever have set foot on a college campus at all. The paradigm has shifted, as Greta says, and it's now employees are in charge of their own careers and their own job searches. American mentality, says Joseph, is to put our careers over our time and family, the almighty dollar above all. But I agree with what you are saying. Time spent and memories made with our families and friends should be the highest priority. Well, here's the thing. There's Maslow's hierarchy. You've heard of it, Maslow's pyramid. Maslow, Abraham Maslow, is called the father of American psychology. All right, 100 years ago, whatever. Okay, and so this Maslow's hierarchy says the first thing we need air to breathe to stay alive. We need food. We need water. We probably need shelter from the elements. Okay. Once we have those things, what do we need? Well, we need a little bit of security, put away a little money if we can. We need, a few things around us. We need clothes and, maybe some books, pots and pans. And then after that, what do we need? Well, after that, we would like a few more comforts. We maybe want to do something good in our communities. Maybe we want to explore our creative side, when we have the time and the energy and the money to do that. And maybe we want to really make our mark and leave a legacy when we leave, this earth. But once you've taken care of your needs, your basic needs to stay alive, and you can pay the rent or the mortgage and the car payment and the other bills, then really, how could your family and your friends and your own welfare not be your highest priority? Has to be. We do have, you're right, Joseph, we do have a really unhealthy idea here in the United States that everything is for work. Work comes first. Work comes first. Why? Why would work come first? Here in the United States, we don't even have an assurance from our employer that we will still be employed past this week. We don't have contracts, right? The corporate ladder is no more. As we said, it's gone. So we have to commit to ourselves. But the thing is, the more power that we take back from employers, no hate on employers. I am an employer, right? I have a team and a payroll. The more power we take back, the stronger we get. And the less the prospect of losing our job or having to find a new job even concerns us because we know we're marketable. That's what I want you to build, those muscles, so that you're really strong and you don't worry. My manager doesn't like me and I'm worried. Why are you worried, sweetheart? Don't be worried your manager doesn't like you. Maybe your manager doesn't deserve you, and maybe you're wasting your time working with this manager because you deserve somebody who values you more. It is a paradigm shift, as Greta said. Okay, in Holland, employees don't have fixed contracts anymore. The majority do flex work as self-employer, no security, really crazy. Okay, per comparison, I didn't see that. I get the interview. Used to be, Robert says, when I got the interview, I got the job. Now that I'm older and a little, let's see if we can view this outside this little frame. It's not showing. Let's see. So you can share. Let's see if we can find what Robert's saying to us here. Okay, now that I'm older and a little out of shape, I'm not getting hired. Okay, don't go there. Don't go there. Do not go there, Robert. I'm older, I'm out of shape. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. We tend to go to, it's because I'm this, it's because that, it's because that they don't like me. You just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let's get back to the topic and we'll get into, we have these things that come in. Well, it's because I'm older. It's because I'm out of shape. That has nothing to do with your competence. The key to getting your dream job is three things. Number one, it is setting an appropriate career direction. And I have to tell you, most people don't do this. Most people go to the job market saying, well, I could do sales, I could do marketing. Let me apply for some sales jobs. Let me apply for some marketing jobs. They have no focus. And that really, really, really hurts them. In any type of marketing, and as a job seeker, you are marketing yourself. In any type of marketing, you have to understand your customer. You have to pick out your customer. So you can't say, I'm just out here with all these skills. Does anybody find my skills desirable? That's the worst way to job hunt. The worst brand a job seeker can pick is Jack of all trades, or the feminine form, Jill of all trades. It's garbage job search brand because no hiring manager is looking for someone who's a jack of all trades or a Jill of all trades. It's not believable because really, is anybody good at everything? And also, it's not compelling. Can you be more specific? Most people have a job search brand that is way too broad and it waters down their power. It says, I would be this for you. I could be that for you. What do you want me to be? No, no, it's not what do you want me to be? It's here's what I am. Here's who I am. Here's what I do really well and what I love to do. And you simply are looking for employers who have the kind of pain that you can solve. That's the biggest problem job seekers face in my experience as a 30 some year HR VP and career coach, okay? Is that people do not narrow down their job search branding and direction enough. Got to take a little COVID break, get a drink here. Boy, oh boy. It's too broad. And by being too broad, it's very weak. Back in the 1980s, there was a resume style. Now, the jobs market was so much more forgiving then that people could get a job with this kind of branding, and now they can't. But back in the 1980s, there was a popular job search branding style, showed up on people's resumes. LinkedIn didn't exist. And it would say, I don't know if you remember this, you have to be like my age, but it would say operations with a little bullet, operations, sales, finance. What does it mean? What do you do well? You do operations, sales, and finance all equally well? I don't have a job like that. No employer has a job like that. You are not out here saying, I can do this, or I can do that, or I can do this other thing. No one wants to hire someone to do a bunch of things like kind of well. You have to decide. You have to look for the intersection of what you do well, what you like to do, and where there's pain in the marketplace. Now, you probably know what you do especially well and what you like to do. If you're not sure, you can get out a journal or any notebook and write down a lot of the things that you like to do and the things that you do well. And of course, there's going to be intersection between those two things. The third piece is what are employers looking for? What kind of pain do they have? What kind of problems do they have? And you can get a good sense of that by reading job ads and looking for the pain behind the job ad, right? Let's say that there's a job ad for a customer service manager. Pretty common job ad, right? Pretty common job description. And they say, we want somebody who's really good with staff development and training to reduce churn. CHURN, churn, like churning butter. Not that anyone on this call has churned butter anytime recently, but we have the idea of churn. Churn in the business world means customers are leaving. So they're looking for a customer service manager to help reduce churn, to keep customers on board instead of customers leave. Costs a lot of money to acquire new customers. We'd rather keep the customers we have than have to go out and get new ones. So you're saying, oh, so that's a pain point. That is a pain point, churn. And even if I'm not applying for a customer service manager job, let's say I'm applying for an account manager job or an inside sales job or any kind of sales job, I'm going to mention churn because it's a pain point, and I know that I can be effective in reducing churn, which is the same thing as employees quitting, right? This is customers quitting, right? And I can mention in my resume that I've helped to reduce customer turnover or customer fleeing, customer churn through my work at XYZ company. We have to be very tuned in, not only to our own skills, but to the pain or problems on the part of employers that we have helped to solve or relieve. That's actually one of the most important things about our background is the problems we've solved. And many people don't even mention their problem-solving stories in their resume, but they should. If you want to get your dream job, you've got to get a very clear idea of your job search direction, and it cannot be all over the map. You've got to brand yourself specifically for the job you want. Not every job you could perform. And you've got to tell stories in your resume and in your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to check out some of the comments and then I'm going to give you an example, a few examples of these stories that you can tell in your resume. Okay. And it's true, Denise, every job has some kind of customer service aspect. Okay, let's see what we've got in the comments. Liz, what do you think about taking a small cut? I think you mean a pay cut as an investment for a better position in a year or two. I don't know where you're based, Rocky, but in this environment, I can't imagine why that would be necessary. I don't think it's a great idea. I want you to value yourself very highly. No one will value you more highly than you value yourself. Sometimes employers don't even know or understand what they really need. Yes, it's absolutely true, Angela. And so if you can anticipate, a lot of employers in your situation need help with X. Have you had issues with X? A lot of people have. Churning is a great way to put that. That's not me. That's standard out there in the world. Employees today are laser focused on their personal well-being and are willing to leave workplaces where they feel their employers are indifferent to their needs and fail to engage them meaningfully with them, which they should. I agree with you there, Michael. So what if you have multiple talents? Exactly, Angela. A lot of people have multiple talents, right? I hope I have multiple. I'm an opera singer. I'm an HR opera singer and, raised a bunch of kids and I like to write and draw and all kinds of stuff, but all of that is not going to be relevant to my job search, right? I'm going to make choices and I'm going to leave certain things out of my resume and out of my branding to convey what is most relevant to the reader, just like any kind of marketing. So far, no one has hired me as an HR chief because I could sing opera. I think it's cool. It's at the very bottom of my resume and it probably comes across when I interview, but if it's not relevant to them, to the buyer, then it's not going to be prominent in your branding. The point is to make choices and let some stuff go. Let it go. You are not out here trying to be all things to all people. Lorianne, lots of HR job descriptions are emphasizing the need for experience with investigations. Well, that's a big red flag. Why do you need so many investigations? Culture issues. Oh, that's genius, Lorianne. I never thought about that, but you make a very good point. Why so many investigations? What's going wrong at your company? That's really smart. And so when you see a job ad, you read that job ad with a critical eye. It's not just, can I do the job? It's also, do I want this job? Because you can't even read all the job ads that are out there. You can't read them all. There are so many. You have to narrow down who is even eligible to interview you. Most companies don't pay you for a job interview. Few of them do. Few of them pay $75 or $100 to interview you, which is great. I think everyone should do that. But at the moment, most companies will not pay you for a job interview. So it matters where you spend your time. Sometimes candidates try to find out, what does this job pay? And they get through the first interview and no one will say what the job pays. It's like they don't want to talk about it. So then they get a call, they get an email maybe that says, come back for a second interview. It's perfectly reasonable at that point to say, I really need to understand the compensation schedule. Why would I come for a second interview? I already came for a first interview and no one would tell me what this job pays. It might not be worth my time, right? Lorianne has the right idea. We are vetting, VETTING. We are evaluating employers as much as they are evaluating us. Okay. In many startup situations, I have had to wear multiple hats, Gina says. Pretty good at it. I know you are, Gina. How do I sell that? You're not going to sell wearing multiple hats. Companies hire people for a specific, although I take it back. In a startup situation, I don't know what your function is, but let's just say HR, because we talked to Lorianne, who's an HR person. Let's say, Gina, you're writing your resume and you're going to pick out a job title that really feels like the sweet spot. You can change it anytime you decide to send a resume to a different employer. You can change it at a moment's notice. Something wrong with my camera here. But let's say it's HR director for a startup, HR manager. So you're going to write a little branding statement like this, Gina. In this example, I am an HR manager specializing in startups with a deep understanding of recruiting, employee relations, and the specific situations that arise in periods of high growth. I thrive on wearing multiple hats, dealing with strategic and tactical issues throughout the day, and keeping an organization humming and growing and feeling good, or full of trust. So you're going to write a very human and very sort of specific. That's specific. I don't do HR for huge corporations. I don't focus on comp and benefits or some specialized issue. I'm an HR manager for startups. And that means I do wear a lot of hats, and I do zip up and down from 30,000 feet of altitude to no feet of altitude. And I'm on the loading dock. And a minute later, I'm in the executive boardroom. And I'm great with all of that. And I bring my positive energy to the place. I don't mind setting up procedures and training people and recruiting all in the space of a day or a week. It's all really good. I believe in culture. You're going to get that message across in 2 sentences. Now, if you're the opposite end of the spectrum in HR, and the one thing you do is sales comp, I'm a sales comp specialist. That's not going to be a startup role, probably, right? They don't have people doing that. You're going to be in a big company. I'm a sales comp specialist and very skilled in multi-country, multi-channel, verticals, blah, whatever sales comp specialists do. But you're going to very specifically brand yourself. Generic branding does not count as branding. It's not good. Specific is important. And we fear, well, then I'll leave something on the table. You don't leave anything on the table by being specific in your branding. You bring across so much more power and heft than you ever could by staying back and saying, I'm a results oriented professional with a bottom line orientation. That's bad. That's really, really bad. I want that out of your resume, like this weekend. Just get rid of it. Lots of business, this is James, want people for entry-level jobs, but then ask for experience. Truth. How are we supposed to get experience if we never get the chance? You right. Well, we need experience, then the cycle continues. Business constantly asks me for range of pay that I want. Just don't apply for those jobs. There's so many jobs out there. You can afford to not apply for most of the jobs that you see. Yes, Marco says, I agree, Liz. You must show why you are the solution. And in order to show why you are the solution, you have to have at least a rough understanding of the problem. So let's do a little exercise around problems, which we call pain. In our company, human workplace, we call problems that employers face business pain. What are some of the business pain points that employers experience? Well, customers leaving, customers buying from somebody else instead of us. Terrible, expensive, heartbreaking, right? Leadership deficits, big problem right now. We don't have people with the leadership skills we need to continue growing our business. Big pain point is obviously employee turnover right now. Difficulty hiring people, massive pain point. Unhappy employees, unhappy customers, cost overruns, massive pain point. Reporting excellence, meaning the creation, the development of really accurate and appropriate and insightful reports. That's an art, even more than a science. If that is a pain point you can solve, that's what you're going to focus on in your resume. That is my resume, results oriented in a Julia Child voice. I guess that is a Julia Child voice. Denise said, results oriented professional. Yes. Julia Child, the chef, the revered first big TV chef, Julia Child. That's what we don't want in our resume. Results are, because you know what, Denise? You are a firecracker. You have so much energy and so much great stuff that you've done. You've got stories, you've got accomplishments. You bring a lot to your employers. And results-oriented professional, it just deadens your message. It just takes all the flame out of it, right? So instead of results-oriented professional, what you're going to say is, I do X. I am a IT project manager who thrives on taking big, meaty projects from conception to launch on time and under budget and building teams along the way. Bada bing, bada boom, right? Not to quote Tony Soprano, but I mean, you're going to bring out who you are and what you do powerfully with confidence. You're going to get rid of the standard gross resume language that we were all taught that just sucks all the power out of your resume. It doesn't resonate. People say, what difference does it make what words are in my resume when a machine is going to look at my resume? Truth. But the thing is, once a keyword searching algorithm pulls your resume out of the abyss, the black hole, a human being still has to look at it before you get an interview. And that's who you're writing for, that human being. That's who you're writing for, that human being who inevitably has to look at your resume before you get an interview, and the human being who's got your resume in front of them while you're on the interview. Lorianne, yes, culture is huge. More than salary, I look at the culture of an organization to decide if I want to participate. When possible, I look into the nature of the people who will be managing me. It's easy enough to go find their profiles on LinkedIn, right? The management team. When if they see me and treat me as a machine, I'm not interested. If they treat me as a person with other interests and concerns outside of work, I am happier. I especially value managers that make a point of educating me, developing my skills, and introducing me to others and pointing me to opportunities. If you can, find that person. That's it, right? You have value, and no one will see the value until you see it. So, weirdly, a job search that we think of as an externally focused event, it's a really internally focused process. It's a process of really reflecting on and discovering and reclaiming our own power, right? Our own power. On average, 9 seconds are spent on a CV. How to deal with that? Grab their attention. Make that 9 seconds 45 seconds, Marco. Great question. How do you grab their attention? Don't sound like everybody else. Results oriented professional. That's 4.5 seconds, right? Yeah, you don't want, you're Marco. You're powerful. You're not like everybody else. Tell us what you do. Branding statement at the top of your resume says, senior financial advisor, right? I analyze, what's the gas and oil called now? The energy industry trends and reports to create forecasts and whatever operating plans for my employers, and I've had and through my work have helped develop a new forecasting methodology that helped to increase sales 45%. I'm just telling you, that's what I do. I might not be the person that you want, and that's fine, but that's who I am, and that's what I do. And now you get to decide if you want to interview me. Like me, I'm an HR person, right? But I'm not any generic HR person. I'm a very specific kind of HR person, right? I'm an HR person really, really focused on culture and communication, leadership, engagement, buy-in, and trust. My goal when I go into a company as an employee or as a consultant is to change the energy and improve the energy in the company, to talk really frankly and really honestly about what's working and what's not working, and to get people talking in a more human, conversational, and authentic and honest way. And so that is not everybody's cup of tea. And there are lots of people that would never hire me, and there are lots of people that would never hire me to consult with them, and they'd be horrified. And that's absolutely fine. I don't need them all. There's now 8 billion people in the world. 8 billion. That's a lot of people. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do or how you think. Not all of those people are going to like you or approve of you regardless. Not all of those people are ever going to like me. And you know what I don't do? I don't waste any time worrying about how to make a few more people like me. There's 8 billion to choose from. I only need, a small number of clients or employers. And the same is true for you. Don't change yourself or try to contort yourself into some shape that someone else might find acceptable. If they don't find you acceptable, God bless them. Let them run away. You don't need them, right? Get used to appreciating yourself and what you bring. You don't have to be different to get a good job. Let's see. The primary goal of a CV is to get on an interview table, right? I wouldn't say so. If the primary goal of your resume is to get an interview every time you send it out, then you have no standards whatsoever, right? Oh, please like me, sire, your majesty. No. The primary goal of a CV, like any branding document, is to bring in, attract the right people, and the rest can go live a happy, long, and happy life without you. It's a shift in mindset, right? You're not here to please everyone, Marco. You're here to attract the right people to start a fertile conversation about where you and they may have an intersection of interests. That's it. You don't need an interview at every company. You couldn't even attend all those interviews. There's not enough hours in the day. Okay, what else have we got in the comments? Let's see. People want to be poured into and invested in. Culture and leadership are more important to me than job title and salary. I mean, it's that way nowadays, right? Because if you've ever been in the wrong job, you know what I mean. It's physically painful. It's bad for your health. It's bad for your relationships. It's bad for your emotional health. I mean, I feel like in some ways I'm still recovering from a couple of the bad jobs that I've had. Not every job deserves you. And I don't want you going out to a job search like, please, somebody find me worthy. Of course, we all feel that way at times. Our fuel tank gets low. We get depleted. I mean, look, I have COVID now, no makeup. I'm all like, bleh. We don't feel all of our strength, but have faith that power is going to come back and you're going to feel it, and you will be unhappy if you have taken the wrong job because you didn't feel your power, and now you're in this wrong job and you're like, this is worse than unemployment. It's literally worse. I'm so glad, Angela. Thank you for those comments. Thank you, Marco. um it's worse. I mean, not having money to pay the rent is horrible, right? It's a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling. I have to ask your parents or somebody to help you out. It's a horrible feeling, but there's a worse thing, and that is feeling trapped in a job where they never deserved you. They were never going to get you. They were never going to value you. And if you've had those experiences, it's like, there's a saying, it comes from the Bible, and I don't know the exact words, but it's like, cast not thy pearls before swine. Swine, that means pigs. They don't know what a pearl is. Pearls are incredibly valuable. They come from the ocean, from oysters. They're gorgeous little white round, jewels that get strung on a necklace or a bracelet, and a swine would just trample the pearl into the mud. And when you're in the wrong place, it's like casting your pearls before swine. Like, why am I here? These people don't get me. They don't understand me. They don't value me. It's so hard on you emotionally, mentally. It's absolutely torture. I don't want you in that situation. I want you to work with people who get you, who resonate at your frequency, who laugh at your jokes, who build you up, right? That's what you deserve. You deserve that. You deserve to work in a place where your energy and their energy reinforce one another. Any advice for a 20 years dinosaur at the same company looking for a new challenge? First of all, drop the dinosaur thing, Marco. Drop this idea. Another person mentioned, I'm older, I'm out of shape. Honey, I'm older than all y'all, out of shape. It has nothing to do with anything. Let it go. You are not here to please the world. Some of these people that are going to interview you, they don't, no offense, deserve to shine your shoes. Why? Let's get rid of the idea, oh, well, this person's an interviewer, so they're high and I'm low. No, you are mighty. You are striding out there like, yes, I have my thing. I know what I do. I know what I bring. And I know that not all of these people deserve me in their space. Changing the mindset is 90% of it, you guys, in a job search. 90%. The mindset. There's not time to interview with everybody. So when I do go to an interview, I'm not here to say, well, I could be different than I am. I could change myself. No. No, 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 no. This is who I am. This is what I do. All I'm doing is looking for the person who gets that. Let's go back to dating. We talked about dating, right? Dating, serial dating, right, is a process of looking for a connection. Doesn't mean making a connection, an artificial connection with a person who's not going to treat you right, who isn't the kind of person that you're even attracted to, right? Because they're there. No, right? Somehow it's easier to get that in the dating world than it is in the job search world. And it's obvious why, because jobs pay money that we need to pay the rent and pay our bills, right? But it's the same exact principle. My job as a job seeker is to keep on looking until I find the people who get me and therefore deserve me. That's it. If it takes 10 interviews, 45 interviews, I'll go on 45 interviews. I'll go on 45 interviews in 3 weeks if I have to. I will contort myself in the schedule much more easily than I will in my personality or who I am. I'll go through that because I deserve to work with people that are going to value me. Oh my gosh, I was in the hospital in March. So sorry to hear it, Jessica. Turned out to be work stress, a very expensive lesson. It's the truth. I talked to a doctor in an emergency room, ER doc, and he said 50% of the people that walk in to his emergency room, their physical issues that got them to the ER can be traced back to workplace stress. It's a huge societal and public health issue we don't really deal with. It's a huge issue. Taking care of yourself is so appropriate, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Self care, I mean, it's everything. And I don't just mean expensive bath salts and all that. That stuff is great, but I mean taking care of yourself emotionally, restricting your airspace. Who gets to be around you and spend time with you? Not everyone. If you go on an interview and they kind of like you and they invite you back to a second interview and you say, can I understand more about the compensation? No, no, we're not at that point yet. You'll learn the compensation when and if we decide to make you an offer. You say, bye, bye. What? No, no. I might be desperate. I might feel very desperate, and I'm not that desperate. Not that desperate to kiss ass. I appreciate your insight. Know it'll lead to more fulfilling career, but it's been difficult to reconcile the career reflection and crafting my stories with the old way of searching. You're not going to reconcile that, Matthew. It's a departure. It's stepping out of the old into the new, stepping through fear, and we all feel it. And I'm 100% sympathetic, empathetic, because I feel it too, and we're all doing it together. Mostly because it feels like I'm not getting far. But as you say, I guess it's mostly about changing that mindset as I don't feel as defeated and depressed. That's it. The stronger you feel, Matthew, the easier it's going to be to say, here's who I am. It's not bragging, by the way. It's not bragging to say, this is what I do. This is what I specialize in. This is where I thrive. It's not bragging. You're not saying, I was called the best software sales rep in Chicago. You're just saying, here's where I thrive. This is the kind of stuff I do. Oh, I said I was going to give you some examples of stories, and I should because we have 11 minutes left here. So you're going to tell little stories in your resume. There are two places to tell stories in your resume. The first one is in a little branding statement, the summary at the top of your resume. So your resume says, Liz Ryan, that's my name, at the top of your resume. Then my address, not the city and not the street, no one cares anymore, but the city and state, bing a bing, bing a bing, Chicago, Illinois. Okay, whatever. Then your phone number and your email address, and that has to be work appropriate. It can't be, party boy 99. It has to be appropriate for work. And then your LinkedIn URL, which is linkedin.com/IN, because that's how LinkedIn does it, / your name. Now, that just doesn't magically happen. You have to go to your profile and create that custom URL. It's very easy to do. And once you create that custom URL, you can put it not just in your resume, but also in your job search, any correspondence, your email messages you send like back and forth with recruiters, for example, and you can put that LinkedIn URL at the bottom of your signature in those messages. So like my name's Liz Ryan, such a common name. There are 500 Liz Ryans on LinkedIn, but I just got there first. And so I got the URL linkedin.com /IN / Liz Ryan. And by the way, if you're not following me on LinkedIn already, you can go to that URL and follow me. But So that goes at the top. And then the next thing on your resume is your branding. And that starts with what's the job title you want. So you can change this for every job you apply to. You put the job title of the job you want, right? So they see you in the frame of this is who this person is. You don't have to have performed that job before as long as you're qualified, right? Say 40% qualified based on their requirements in the job ad. The job is a senior product director. You put senior product director. That's how I see myself. That's who I'm going to the party as, right? That's it. And then you explain why in your summary at the top of your resume. I'm a senior product leader who thrives on taking exciting, industry changing products to launch and be into market and making them profitable. You can tell a story right there of a time when you did that. At Acme Explosives, I was part of the team that got our modular stick dynamite product out to the market through e-commerce, generating 10 million in sales the first year. You didn't lead the whole charge by yourself. Of course, no one thinks that you did. No one would expect that you did, but you were part of it. And the thing is that you get the impact of your work. That's terribly important. No one cares about tasks like I type and I file and I spin and I card wool. Tell us what it made a difference, the impact. Because for you to show that you see the impact of your work tells an employer so much that you're awake and aware, which, unfortunately, partly due to training, most job seekers are not. They'll tell you what they were told to do. I did what I was told to do, but like, well, why did they have you do that? I don't know. No, why did I do it? I built a database so we could track volunteers to increase donations to our annual giving fund. And it worked, right? Tell us the impact. All right. Okay, Denise, I want to transfer to another area. My skills are transferable, but how do I make them visible? It's not about skills, Denise, and it's about skills maybe in the background. But what you want to say to that employer in this new area you're stepping into is you want to tell them how the skills in the background, your skills, have already resulted in positive impact to your past employers. You have to know what kind of area you want to get into, right? You have to know what kind of job title you want. And once you know that job title, you can say, well, what are the priorities? What kinds of pain are they trying to solve when they're hiring a person to do whatever it is that you are trying to do? And then you tell stories, little short stories that are relevant to solving that pain. So you're not going to list your skills ever. You can list technical skills, of course, software packages that you work with, programming languages, that kind of thing, Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, whatever. Sure, but you're not going to say, administrative skills, negotiation skills. It doesn't mean anything. Anybody could claim those. It's very lame and bland. Is it advantageous, Lisa says, to have a variety of resumes that are based on the job I'm applying for? Yeah, it is really advantageous to customize a resume. You could have 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 resumes sitting on your hard drive that you can, tweak and customize for specific jobs. Okay. All right. I accepted a temporary contract job. Corinne says, now I can only land temporary contract jobs. Um, that's fine. You get a temporary contract job and then you follow this methodology I'm laying out. If you want a full-time job, you're going to get very specific about your direction. You're going to brand yourself for the job you want, and you're going to reach out to hiring managers. Now, look, we have 5 minutes. I actually started doing a video series, free 6-part video series called Get Your Dream Job. And if you'd like to see that video series, leave a comment for sure today for this LinkedIn Live, and I will comment back with the link to that video series, Get Your Dream Job. I think the first one of the series is already out. So as soon as you get that link, you can click on it and you will be sent that video in your email. And these are like half an hour videos. I created 6 of them to walk through the process of how to get your job, your dream job, starting with your career direction, your branding, right? Then 5 channels. You're going to apply for jobs online, but that's only one channel. And there's 4 other channels you could be using to get interviews. Then how to interview with confidence, how to tell stories on the interview and get the job you deserve. That is my goal, to help you get into a job that deserves your talents, not just any job at all. Oh, fantastic. Christy, Nicole, beautiful. Denise, we will get you all those links. Glad to see you too, Michael and Orla. So good to see you guys. And we'll get you those links. And then I'll see you in the video series. And I'll see you the next time we do a LinkedIn Live also. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see if I have time to answer a question or two here before we sign off. I think doing this actually helped my COVID, you guys. I feel better, feel a little bit better. So thank you. Like to have the link. So glad to hear it. Okay. Totally understand now, you are a magnet to recruiters. That's it, Angela. You got it. You're a magnet. When you declare yourself as what you are going to the party as, you're a magnet for recruiters. When people say recruiters aren't reaching out and they send me their LinkedIn profile and I look at it, I say, because they can't tell what you're trying to do. The first thing recruiters want to know is, what kind of job do you want? Not like all the jobs I could do, but what job do you want? Tell us. It's so important. Okay, I missed that one. It dropped out of sight. Okay. Glad to see everyone. Make sure and leave a comment. See if we got one more question and we can wrap it up. Do you think corporate get any advantage of or even understand what COVID brought to the job market? I think they're still at the stone age. Well, you know what? First of all, there's lots of jobs outside of corporate. Don't have to be a corporate job. A lot of people think I got to work for a huge corporation. Why? There's startups, there's family-owned businesses, they're not-for-profit agencies, there's government institutions. There's a lot of ways to work outside of corporate. That is not the only game in town. And secondly, even when it comes to corporations, there's a big bell curve over the way they have dealt with this challenge in recruiting over the last couple of years. And it's all about the people. You're going to know as soon as you get into, even before the interview, as soon as you get into communication with an employer, you can tell if they're at all like human and flexible or if they're not, right? You can tell just from their correspondence. You can tell if they're casual, if they're friendly, if they're warm, or if they're just not at all, right? And I remember as a very young person thinking, I should leave this interview. This is so gross. One time I went for an interview, brand name, but I'm not going to bust them and tell you who it was, but it's a well-known company. And I was like 26 and I go to the interview and the whole building was creepy and cold. And I go upstairs to like the 30th floor, in the elevator where the interview was. And there's a reception sitting in this lobby that is like black granite on the floor. Her reception desk is black granite and all the walls are mirrors. It's all mirrors. So you're just looking at all the bad angles of myself, right? And I'm sitting on a bench. It's made out of black granite. There's no fabric of any type visible. There's no other furniture. It's just this big floor to ceiling window looking out over Lake Michigan and all black granite and mirrors. It was like, and I said to her, "Oh, is there a closet?" And she points. She doesn't speak to me. She points to a wall, which is all mirrors. I don't know which one is a closet if you push on it where it opens. And I'm like an idiot. I'm pushing on all these mirrors. I'm sure she did this 40 times a day. Not one of these mirrors is marked, "This is the closet." And if you push on me, you can put your coat inside. So I sit there with my coat in my hands because it's so embarrassing. And I'm like, I already want to leave. This is so dumb. I should just leave this interview. I know it's going to be horrible. And I went in there and it was so horrible. It was so horrible. The lady was so mean. But now I get to tell the story, maybe make you laugh 30 years later. So it's worth it. But anyway, you folks are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be back on LinkedIn Live before long. And be sure to leave a comment and I'll send you that link to my free video series, Get Your Dream Job. So take care and I'll be back with you soon.